Hello, everyone. I bet you're glad to have finished up your Supporting a Position with Sources essay, and I'm looking forward to reading more about the research questions and the answers that you guys found on the topics that you selected. Where we're going to go now in the course is to our third writing situation, which is taking a stand. So, for the next 2 weeks, that's what I'll be talking about. But for just a little bit of a recap and to kind of finish up where we are with the supporting positions with sources essay, I just want you to take a couple minutes and reflect on how the writing process for this essay went for you, especially because this is our first time using sources in a paper. So, how did that change the process for you? In the worksheet, you'll find a couple of questions. So, you may just want to take a couple minutes right now, pause, answer those questions, and then kind of set that whole essay aside before we move on. But otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the learning objectives for this week. So we have three objectives. One is to learn the characteristics of argumentative writing. And basically, that's what the taking a stand essay is that I'll be covering a bit later on. And then the next goal is to learn how to avoid plagiarism when quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. And I covered this a bit last week, but I want us to focus in a little bit more on some of the nitty gritty details, especially with punctuation and citations that can get you inadvertently accused of plagiarism. And then the third is to learn how to write introduction and conclusion paragraphs. So we'll focus on that. And just like with the last two essays, it'll definitely be coming up for the remaining essays in this course. All right. What I'm going to have you guys do first this week is actually your opening paragraph and conclusion paragraph exercise because we'll just kind of get that out of the way since it's due Thursday, and then we'll really move into diving in and starting with the taking a stand essay. So the instructions for this you can find in the syllabus on page 10, and you really need to use the template that's on EmuLearn in order to do this exercise properly. It'll give you the questions and all that you need to answer. What you're being asked to do is to look at two of possible three essays, and they're listed in the instructions. And you should look at the introductions and the conclusions of these essays and answer the questions in the worksheet. Now, one little tip is that for some of these essays, you maybe have to look at the first two-ish paragraphs and the last two paragraphs. Ideally, in an academic essay like the kind that you guys are writing, all the information will be in that first paragraph for your introduction, and you'll have a clear conclusion. That's one paragraph. But sometimes for like journalist writing and stuff, which is what these essays are examples of, they kind of stretch out their introduction over a couple paragraphs or their conclusion over a couple paragraphs. So that's just a little tip for you as you're working on this exercise. So, what I recommend is go back and review chapter 17, where it talks about opening paragraphs and conclusion paragraphs. That's pages 286 to 289. Review those before doing this exercise and then complete it. And then, when you are done with the exercise, go ahead, jump in and read chapter 8, Taking a Stand, which will introduce you to our next essay and writing situation. And then come back and watch part 2, where I'll start to walk you through this essay and what you need to be working on for it this week.